Oh my god. The Witch. Oh man. That movie was... The Witch is awesome. Oh, here's my cat. Here we go. Trying to fucking, like, photobomb up in my shit. Here's Pantera. If you guys haven't seen her. She hates it when I pick her up. Say hi to the internet while I talk about the Witch. Okay. Go over there now. But yeah, the Witch. So fucking cool. This movie is just ridiculously gross. The Witch is pretty much... It's what? Remember, like, a long time ago, M. Night Shyamalan came out with a movie called The Village? And the end was super, super disappointing because there was a big, stupid twist. There was a big, stupid twist at the end about, like, the guys weren't really, like, Amish and stuff, and there weren't really monsters. You know, and the blind lady. Well, The Witch. It's just a movie about witches doing gross shit and, like, fucking with this family until they all die. Spoilers. But, yeah, man, The Witch is rough. It's like... It starts out, right? There are these fucking, like, Puritan guys in, like, the 1600s or whatever, and they're getting thrown out of their colony. There's, like, this weird little trial, and, they're talking to this guy. It's like everybody's dead. His name's William. And he's like... They're super mad at him because he's just being like a way better Puritan than they are. He's just like way better at it. So they're like, you're fucking making us look bad. Go fuck off to the forest with your weird family. You know, your spooky little kids. And your weird looking wife. Who... She's a good she's a good actress. However, so... Go fuck off to the forest. So he's like, yeah, fuck it. I'm way better than you guys are at, you know, wearing pointy hats and fucking praying all day. You know, so he like, takes his family and they fuck off to the forest. And they make their own little farm out there. And just, like, instantly shit starts going sour. Like, they like, build a farm out there and start doing stuff. And, like, but it's not very successful. Like, nobody really knows what they're doing, you know. So they're just kind of having, like, a run of bad, like, farm luck or whatever. Like, his wife, played by the awesome, spooky as fuck Kate Dickie. This lady she's so fucking intense looking, this actress. Like, she's got, like, a super muscular face and, like, a real pointy nose, and she's, like, one of those Scottish people that's, like, really red, you know? If that makes sense. It's like her complexion. It's like, way more red than, like, the rest of her, than, like, normal, like, people, I guess. Even, like, other Scottish people. They're far more pale than she is. She's very red. She's red, and she's got crazy intense eyes and a huge forehead, and her face is super muscular. And she's just, like, she looks like she's just gonna fucking freak out at any moment all the time. And, like, in everything she's in. Like, in Game of Thrones, she's a crazy lady. And this, she's, like, a weird Puritan, you know? So, she has a kid in this, and, their daughter, like, takes it out onto the field, and it just fucking goes missing. Boop! Gone. She's fucking around with it, like in some field or another. Thomason is this lady's name, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, who is awesome. She's really good in this. Also, like, everyone in this movie is really good in this, even the child actors, which is a fucking, like, boon, right? Because anytime I come across good child actors that don't just set my fucking hair on edge, then, you know, like, that's a good find, and they abound in this movie. This Harvey Scrimshaw dude, he plays Caleb, like, the young son. He's fucking awesome. He's, like, winning awards and shit for this, I'm sure. Like, if awards happen. Because, like, his performance is it's just fucking crazy. Like, the first part of the movie is pretty much, like, about him. You know, like, the first, like, 20 minutes just kind of, like, follows his, like, shit around. And it's, like, he's a big deal with the plot. And then, There's two, like, tiny little kids. There's Ellie Granger and Lucas Dawson, or Mercy and Jonas, right? The tiny little kids, and they are the fucking spookiest pair of creepy children that I've seen in a movie in a long time. They are just so spooky. They're just running around singing creepy songs and like whispering to a goat and shit like that, and being like just super gross, evil little kids. It's awesome. But anyway, so this baby goes missing. Just like mysteriously, poof, fucking gone, right? Everyone's blaming a wolf and shit, you know, because they don't want to go right to witchcraft. I don't know why. They're like 1600s Puritans. It seems like they just go straight there, but you know, baby's fucking gone. Everyone's real depressed, and it turns out a witch just fucking snatched the baby. Just, you know, like I'm probably going to give away a lot about this movie, but it's not really super suspenseful. Like, there's not really a lot to spoil. There's not any like big twist, but like first 10 minutes of this fucking movie, it's just a naked old lady grinding up a little kid in a hollow stump, you know what I mean? And then rubbing the fucking, like, the gore all over boobs and stuff, and spasming around on the floor and shit like that. It's so creepy. It's awesome. It's exactly what I wanted from this movie. I was super afraid that this was going to turn into one of those things where it's like, it turned out there was no witch. It was just mass hysteria. No, like, witches aren't a thing. Everyone just went to church too much, and they're ashamed of wanking and stuff, so they just fucking went crazy one day. But no, there are witches like a motherfucker in this movie. They do a ton of witchy shit, like a bunch of bad news stuff goes on. It's not like, I don't know, like the Crucible or whatever. What is that the Scarlet Letter? I can't remember. You know that one. That Nathaniel Hawthorne ass book about witches, about like the Salem witch trial, and it's just like people accusing each other of shit. And it's not like, there's not really a witch at the end, it's just like people just freaked out. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of movies like that are like mass hysteria, you know, don't go to church because you go crazy. Right? You end up thinking people are witches and shit, and like hanging people and burning them at the stake, you know. But in this movie, the witches are fucking there. They're a force. They're fucking around. They're like grinding up little kids in a stump and fucking slubing up with them, doing a bunch of fucking horrible shit. It's so spooky. So like shit just gets even spookier after that. It keeps getting weird, right? Like, you know, there's like one scene where like this Thomason chick is like milking a goat, and it just fucking starts spraying blood into the pan, and like the witch is like making the eggs go bad, and like just doing like full on witch stuff, you know, like traditionally shit that is thought to be like the fucking like the what witches are about, and like how you know they're around, like when your fucking milk goes weird and the eggs are strange and like babies start disappearing and shit. It's witches, because I guess like they did some research into like what people thought witches got up to like back in the day, and they just put all that in the fucking script. They're like, here we go, witch shit, and then some stuff from fairy tales too, apparently, because like there's this one part, dude goes in the woods and there's like a sexy witch that comes out of a house, and she's like, ooh yeah, you know, and then that goes bad because she's like, you know, she's not like a sexy fun witch, she's like a murder witch, you know, like they are, you know. But there's like a ton of crazy shit like that. It's so cool and like spooky. The soundtrack, fucking horrifying. It's just like, you know, drony noises and like violins, like detuned violins, and people like chanting. Right, like you'd expect from a movie like this. Totally what it is. Very effective. But yeah, there's just spooky witch shit going on. Like, there's people talking to goats, and there's like, you know, that guy that shows up, and he's like, you know, in witch like lore or whatever, who's like, write your name in this book, I'm a spooky guy, you know, like devilly stuff is going on, you know. It's full on going on in this movie. There's none of that, it's all psychological, oh, we all fucked up, you know, you should all be ashamed of yourselves. Right? It's just, there's a fucking witch. The end. Camera work in this thing. Sorry, I keep drinking coffee. I'm super tired. I like walked to the movie theater again. Luckily, it wasn't snowing this time. I would have been fucking dead. But yeah. So camera work in this thing, super cool. They know what they're doing. When it comes to that, I gotta find out the name of the cinematographer because he is awesome. He or she. I'm just kind of assuming it's a dude. I don't know why. Definitely a boys' club. Cinematography. Jaron Blaschke. Blaschke? Jaron Blaschke is the dude's name? Let's see here. What has he shot? House on the Edge of the Galaxy. A ton of shit that I've never seen. It looks like. Of course, I'm doing the IMDb thing again. Blood Knight, The Legend of Mary Hatchet. I've seen that. Not the best movie. Not bad. Not good either. JoJo is a dog's name. Nope. Nope. Well, he's done a ton of shit, and cinematography is fucking awesome in this movie. It's like they know when to, like, he knows when to like defocus like the background and shit like that, like the director and like cinematographer like in on this, because like there's scenes where people are walking through the woods, right? And it's just like a super confined, like kind of chin high, like close up of like people like walking around, like kind of from like underneath there, and like when they want to spook you a little bit, they'll like throw the background out of focus, so like the trees just start getting blurry and shit like that, and like some weird shit's going on. Like if you're not looking for it, you're not gonna notice it too. Just like the way they like frame everything up, it's like barely like perceptible, but then like shit starts getting like progressively weird, and you're like, oh god, oh no, the witch is around, fuck. You know, there's a spooky rabbit. I think the witch turns into a rabbit at one point and starts fucking people up that way. But yeah. What else about cinematography? Yeah, they do like camera moves sparingly, which is cool. I like that because like there's not like a whole ton of action in the movie, so there's not a whole lot of reason to like cut like constantly like in the editing or like move the camera around a whole lot. But like when they do it just to make you feel like shit. Like when the two spooky little kids are like running around, they'll do like a little dolly shot like on the ground as they're kind of like fucking like chasing this goat around and singing a weird song and shit like that, and like they edit when they have to, which is cool. It's like like there's one part where it's just like a super long shot of it's just like an establishing shot of like this house, and like this lady wanted to go in there maybe, and then like the spooky goats outside, and they hold this shot for like a long time, but there's no reaction shot like on the face of her being like, ooh, should I go in here and like maybe have weird shit happen to me, or like should I stay outside? And she's just got a little lantern and stuff. And like in other movies, they'd cut to like three different things. They'd show the goat, they'd show the person, they'd probably show the door being weird and shit like that. But this is just like one shot, right? And then it cuts again, like when she goes in the building. It's good time. They do the thing with the depth of field when they fuck around with the focal length of like the lens to like eliminate like mid-ground in like a shot, but they don't do it. They do it like real sparingly. Like they don't do it like I don't know, like Hitchcock, De Palma style. Like when they do that, when they just fucking like foreshorten shit down to like just like a crazy amount, like really quick. Like what they'll do is like, because the forest is like a big scary deal because they live at the edge of this weird forest, and like that's where bad shit goes down. That's where like the witch house is, and like witchy stuff is happening. And there's old ladies making paste out of babies. That's my favorite scene. So weird. There's also one where she bites a goat to death. It's fucking horrific. And you think she's gonna make this noise, like a really scary witch noise, like a filmic, like frightening witch noise, but like she just turns around and does this fucking like weird old lady laugh. It's not even like really a cackle. It's just like I can't do it. It's spooky as fuck though. But yeah, like with focal length stuff, it's like they don't do it enough that you recognize it like eminently, but they do it just enough that it looks like you can kind of tell something weird is happening with the forest, and it's just kind of jumping out to get you a little bit, like the forest is kind of like moving in ever so slightly, like it's like creeping in through the frame, like at these people who are like looking at it and, you know, being all superstitious and puritanical about shit. Oh man, yeah, it's real good. I don't really I don't have too many complaints about it, honestly. Like, it's just like it's a bunch of, feels like a bunch of like, there's not very much like character development going on, like, because they do that kind of thing that people do a lot with these kind of movies where like everybody lives together in a little close-knit farm community, but they all have a weird secret, you know, like they all have some shit they're hiding from each other for, you know, whatever reason. But it doesn't it's not really part of the plot or part of the character development. It's weird because it's almost like the twist of the movie is that it's a fucking witch killing people. Because, you know, like they start out this little like subplot of like, ooh, everybody's lying to each other, nobody's really, you know, that good at being a Puritan, you know, everybody's like doing their little fibbing and stuff and being mad and jealous. You're not supposed to do any of that shit. But, you know, they do, of course, because everybody fucking does. You can't not, right? But, yeah, and, like, start to think that's going to be, like, a big part of the movie, is, like, all these weird secrets, and maybe something, like, real bad will come out. But, you know, it never does. It's just, like, shit comes out, like, while people are, like, upset because there's a witch fucking fucking with people. They start yelling at each other about it, but then it's just kind of over. It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. That's great. It's great. It's actually refreshing to have just like a straightforward movie like this without a lot that just comes out to be just fucking gross and evil and scary. Which is totally what it is. Like I couldn't really like discern like a deeper message or anything like that. It's just a sweet ass horror movie, you know. There's like, I mean, I guess you can maybe like pump it for like, you know, an indictment of like superstition, or like, you know, maybe you can look at it from like the standpoint of like, you know, the sin of like pride and shit, because like this guy, you know, bails out and he like won't go back to the village and stuff, and all this shit starts happening. But I don't know, but you can definitely just enjoy it as a fucking just a pricelessly fucked up horror movie. It's pretty bad. So yeah, man, go see The Witch. It is pretty weird. I hear it's doing pretty well too in the theater. But yeah, gird your loins for that shit though. Like the first 10 minutes, baby grinding, right? Some people might be a little disappointed about the ending. It gets a little on the nose towards the end. It turns kind of Hammer filmsy. You know what I mean? It kind of like becomes The Wicker Man a little bit. There's like there's some fucking straight out of like, you know, 17th century superstition witch shit going on in the woods. But it's awesome. I like it. I like that kind of shit. I like, you know, I like it when they can just when they can just fucking go all the way and they can just bite down on it and like show like whatever the fuck they want, you know, and like not make a big deal out of like, you know, not explicitly like being too weird or whatever. No, they go all the way. Super weird. It's like one of the few effect shots in the movie happens like at the very end, and it's not even that big a deal. But yeah, I think it's like super effective. It's good. It kind of like, it almost puts like a fun cap on what is otherwise like a really, really intense movie. Like people getting stabbed in the head, somebody gets gored by a goat pretty brutally. It's fucking awesome, and a whole bunch of other shit. It's rough. but in a fun way. I had a lot of fun with it. And there's nothing like super objectionable in it. Like, you're pretty good to go on whatever. So, okay. The Witch